Hi, Professor Hilger. This is Melanie Orlando, and this is my final project to tell a story and reflect on how other people may perceive it. So, my story is about my mom. She has taught me so much, so much, whether that has to do with culture, values, her generation, her family, you name it, she has taught us. And I'm grateful that this humanities class has also taught me about, the same things, just in a broad spectrum. Whereas like my mom, she taught in hers. And like that kind of feel like gets passed down generation to generation. Like I said, my name is Melanie. And my mom, she is Korean. She is from Busan, South Korea. And I want to talk about, sorry, I have my little cliff notes over here. I want to talk about like family, and I want to talk about her and her culture and what she has like shown us, generation to generation. I feel like her mom and her mom. And like one of the biggest things is this family is just so important. Um, Blood thicker than water, kind of. We were kind of brought up and keeping traditions alive. Um, every Christmas, I mean, we would have a huge Korean meal, like that was just like her thing, like she wanted to do, and we'd all contribute. And um another thing was like we make homemade kimchi, and that's kind of like, it kind of turns into like it's a party itself. Like her mom would make it with her grandma, would make it with her mom, etc., and it just kind of got passed on, like the secret recipe, but it also was just like ladies time, guys time, like everyone kind of just got together, made kimchi, and and then we had it and then shared it around the family. So unfortunately, like my mom had, she passed 3 years ago, and um, I guess my siblings and I, there's four of us, and um, we're trying to keep the tradition going. Like this Christmas, we are having a Korean, dinner, and we're gonna make kimchi, and we're gonna make some other things called mandus. Um, and I just really feel like this, you know, making kimchi with my siblings really like it brings us back to our childhood. It reminds us of our mom, reminds us of her culture, reminds us of, our generation. I feel like not a lot of people do traditions anymore, and I feel, I'm happy that we get to. Um, and my brother now, he was a chef. He went to school to be a chef. He works in a Korean market. So I mean that kind of helps like keeping that going. And I'm going to just move right into my reflection. I think when I was like thinking about doing this presentation, I thought, like, oh, I'm going to be embarrassed talking about, like my mom and kimchi and whatnot. And it kind of just like, I was like, okay, well, like what, that's kind of how it's perceived, like I remember in elementary school, um, my mom would pack me a Korean lunch and there's kimchi in it. It's kind of like it stings. It's fermented cabbage that's spicy, And I remember a girl I was in I think second grade, first or second grade, and I opened up my lunch at and I'll never forget her. And she's like, oh my god, that smells so bad, And I just remember like she's like, oh, like what is that, and like got like some other people like be like, oh yeah, why are you eating that, stinks, like we're having pizza or a bologna sandwich or whatever. And I just remember like being like, oh, I shouldn't like ever then or like ever since then, like I feel like I like was always like conscious about like, oh, I shouldn't like have stinky food or whatnot, even though like that's my culture and that's like my mom and all this stuff. And um I think that like humanities, like treating people like a decent human being, etc. Like it's just it's a crazy time that we live in, and I you know I want people to embrace other cultures, and I want people to respect one another, and I feel like I've been brought up that way, whereas some people have not. And with the holidays right around the corner, and getting together with my siblings and whatnot, I felt like this was a good time for this humanities class to come up. I was reminded of like what are the bones of humanity? And I'm just really excited to see my family and keep this tradition going, and like keep this culture alive too. I think it's really important. Thank you.